827.
Hello, hashtag Burst TV family. Yes, hashtag kinda curated A27, subtitle counseling. And of course, it's coming from at tonight's conversation, the cards. Yes, hashtag Burst TV A27A. And hashtag underrated hype TV A27. Stay Destiny's Child from their Writings on the Wall album circa 1999. Coming from the visual, I like the visual. The visual is coming from YouTube's at Mikey253. That's MYKIE 253. That's a cute way to spell it. That's cute. Anyway, hashtag Verse TV A27B. All this week on hashtag Verse TV A27. And yes, week 275. Cool. Okay. So, the random question that we will spend 1 minute answering. What's your favorite movie? That's so interesting because this question was actually asked in a meeting, and I had to think, and I was like, well, I don't know. And then I was like, well, let me go through what movies I enjoy. And in my mind, I my favorite TV shows, Being Mary Jane and Strangers with Candy. Those are my two favorite TV shows. As far as movies, I don't watch a lot of movies, but I recently, when I was hanging out with my love, came across the fact that in my saved movies, I have Moonlight. And I was like, yeah, I did really enjoy that movie. So, Moonlight. So, yes, okay. That's where I give it. And the random song, well, not the random song, but the song this week is 2000, the newest song, 2024's Sensual Frequencies by Groove Theory from their album R&B in the Soul. And that album is a very happy album. And it's like Groove Theory. I haven't heard from Groove Theory since 96. Yes. Yes, and yes, and yes, and they have a couple of albums that have been released somewhat recently. And I think what it is it's just instrumentals. So it's not Amel LaRue, but the beautiful Bryce Wilson, producer. I think it's just songs that he sort of, because when you are a producer, you produce a lot of music, right? And I think it's just songs that he had perhaps over the years that he or somebody, hopefully he, hopefully it's all good, released as an album, actually as a couple of albums under the name Groove Theory. So whoever, oh my gosh, I don't have time to go into all of that. I will say Bryce Wilson is absolutely beautiful, beautiful. And I remember when Groove Theory came out with the song Tell Me in the 90s, and I was a preteen, and I remember just I didn't even know that this meant that I was same gender loving, but I was very attracted to him. Like in the video, it was Emile LaRue mainly and some scenes of him. And I would find myself, my little 12-year-old self, watching the video like, where's the guy? Oh, there he is. Oh, yes. And then Emile LaRue would come back on singing. I'd be like, okay, hey, girl. And then it'd be like, oh, Bryce, again, he's so beautiful. Yes, he is. And yes, he is. And I've actually followed him on Instagram now, and he is still beautiful. Oh, I should have had his name, but you can look it up. He's under Bryce Wilson. He's still fine. 50 and fine, right? Okay. Yes. Anyway. Da, 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 da. Yeah. All right. And like, share, subscribe, share again, and don't forget to click like. Thanks.
Hashtag kinda curated 827 counseling at tonight's conversation hashtag VerseTV 827A. What are your views on couples therapy or counseling? If your relationship was in trouble, would you seek it?
Yes, absolutely. And my beliefs about counseling and couples counseling, especially now that it's actually a thing that can be relevant to me, because you guys, I've been single for so long, and it feels good to not. Anyway, oh my gosh, stop it. Whatever. Bop, bop, bop. Aaron, shut up. So I am a fan of counseling in general. I believe it's a very good thing. And I believe counseling should be not only for, well, if you see there's some trouble in the relationship, will you go to the counselor? I don't want to say at that point it's too late, because it's not, especially if you get the right counselor. It's not too late when you notice the trouble, depending on when you go. But I feel it's good for just maintenance in general, because, and even in the early days of my love and I building, I remember there was a brief period that, due to a lot of wild, ridiculous things or whatever, I could no longer see my mental health counselor. And I remember I'd find myself on edge a lot when we would communicate. And I had to realize, you know what? I I don't think this is because of him. I think this is because, or largely related to the fact that I don't have the ear of a non-biased third party to hear my issues or my concerns and offer advice and a different way to think about things, or say, yes, he's wrong. That's wrong. Or actually, no, Aaron, you're wrong. Or actually, no, well, maybe a better way to look at it is, oh my gosh, I love my mental health counselor, because thinking about those kind of things that a mental health counselor can give, I remember one time I was talking about a thing with my love and and I was like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so yeah, that and stuff, right? Because you can trust your counselor. They are professionally obligated to not spread your stories, you know? And so I'm going to spread them to you. No, actually, I'm not fully. What I will say is I was saying something to her, and I was like, yeah, I kind of feel awkwardly about that, or something. And she was like, I wonder if he, that's right. She was like, I wonder if that's a pain point for him that he's burying, and you're receiving it and taking it personally, but it's actually something that he might have buried deep down inside that he's dealing with. And I was like, I never thought of it that way. And then in adding other things to it and thinking about it, I'm like, wow, that really is a logical reason for whatever this. It wasn't a tip because anyway, but whatever this complication, there we go, is, it's like, oh, I bet it's because he, like the counselor said, has a personal thing that he doesn't even know. He doesn't acknowledge it, or not doesn't acknowledge it, but doesn't realize it's there. But it's affecting the way he acts in certain things. And it wasn't a huge thing, but it was a little thing, because I can be very, I don't want to say I can be very nitpicky, but I can be very specific with things. And anyway, I've already explained that. I was talking to somebody about how sometimes I explain stuff too much, too and much. And I will say this, and this is a thing. I will work through it, you know? And this is because it's all connected to the card, because I wrote at the top of each of my answers always radical humility, which is what we talk about in church. My love and I, when I presented couples counseling to him, just as me, like we weren't having any trouble or anything, but I was just like, FYI, as we grow and everything, and we are growing, yes. And as we grow and everything, I think it's important for us to have a couples counselor, and do the couples counseling route. And his response to me was that he doesn't like counseling. And I remember I did push back a little bit because, I am me, the title of the Ashley Simpson album. But I did push back a little bit at that time. And I was like, well, why not? Tell me what. And he's like, I had an experience with counseling and it was a very bad experience. And now I just don't want it in my life, period. You can go, and this is what he said. He was like, you can go to a counselor. I don't want to. I still feel it's important. I also acknowledge, oh my gosh, and this is something we discussed in a class in college, a psychology class, how and we're going to bring in race into this situation. It's like race is not a real thing, but there are people in the world who treat it like a real thing. So there are people in the world who receive who are treated as if it is a real thing, and therefore they receive the troubles related to it. And in my psychology class, the professor explained that, well, actually, Black people are just as well, they are equally happy to go to a mental health counselor, equally or even above average, happy to go to a mental health counselor. But after they have their first experience or after their beginning experiences with mental health counseling, if it's not done in a very for example, one of my friends was talking about how her mom was going to a mental health counselor for a brief time. And her mom would always be like, my mental health counselor talks down to me. She looks down on me. She doesn't understand anything. And it's awful. And I had to realize, oh, you know what? Even though he is international, so he's not a Black American, he is a well-traveled, way better than myself, well-traveled individual. So I'm not sure where he was when he had this bad counseling experience and who he was with, but whatever, I had to realize, oh, he's responding to counseling the way that statistically many Black people respond to mental health counseling. And it's, again, race is not a real thing, but people in the world need to realize that. And until everyone realizes that, hey, this is a made up thing, there are going to be people who treat you as if it is a real thing. And you will have experiences as if it is a real thing. People who will, some might look down on you or expect this of you or that of you. You know, you don't act like those, oh my gosh, don't even get me started. But those kind of things. And it's like, anyway, I get it. Telling people that mental health counseling is important and that we all should do mental health counseling can sometimes come across because there is cost involved. So it can sometimes come across like the old Mad TV episode where Deborah Wilson was like, buy a mountain. Buy a mountain. You need to buy a mountain. It's an intelligent investment. Property values are sky high, and it's model, and it will be there forever. You know, buy a mountain. And I get it, telling people just go to a mental health counselor that costs X amount of dollars per session, hundreds of dollars even per session. And it's like, not everyone can do that. Now, I will say this. There are a lot of things in the world that make mental health counseling affordable because people are understanding that, oh, it shouldn't still be hundreds of dollars per session. People, not everyone can do that. I don't do that myself. It's, they have things that make it reasonably priced, more reasonably priced. I'll also say, I just yesterday actually had a marvelous session with my personal mental health counselor who offered me some phenomenal advice that was actually confirming the same phenomenal advice that my love gave me in relation to this situation that I'm going through, y'all. I'm not only am I going through, but I'm making it through. Okay, hallelujah. Yes. Okay. Hallelujah. Anyway, oh my gosh. Okay. Like, share, subscribe, share again, and don't forget to click like.
Hashtag underrated hype TV 827 stay Destiny's Child writings on the wall circa 1999 at Mikey253 hashtag verse TV 827B.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys. That song is so everything. And I have so much to say about it. First, I will say that I love every iteration of Destiny's Child, right? Every single iteration. I was a kid and it was like, yay, Destiny's Child. I love them. They're excellent, and this was before I even knew fully. Oh my gosh, this will take me on such a tangent. I will not do it. But I will say, in loving every iteration of Destiny's Child, from the quartet to the trio, I must say the original Destiny's Child quartet, you see how I held up too? The original Destiny's Child quartet of two. Anyway, the original Destiny's Child quartet, Latavia, that 4-part harmony that they had was exceptional. Yes. And I loved, like, I even had I don't want to say confused gay boy crush on Latavia, but I was confused at that. Well, I don't want to say confused. I mean, Latavia is a beautiful woman. She is the one I was like, yes, I would be with her. I would date her. We could go shopping. Let me stop. Oh my gosh, I'm not that crazy. But yes, my favorite at that time in Destiny's Child was indeed Latavia. And I love the fact that Latavia held down such a strong contralto. Like, she's got that contralto part. And you can hear that in the Destiny's Child harmonies. Anyway, oh my gosh. Okay, enough about that. I was actually just talking with Kevin yesterday about Destiny's Child. And I was like, yeah, something inside of me just had me decide to play Writings on the Wall from start to finish, and I did. And I don't know what it was, but something just made me want to play that whole album. I was talking with him about that, and he was like, "Yeah, you know what's so crazy?" And he said, "You know what's so crazy? Something made me arbitrarily say I want to play that whole album from start to finish recently, and I did so." And it was like, "Yes, all right, millennial, fellow millennial, high five through the phone." Anyway, but yes, this song and Jessica Simpson's song Heart of Innocence. So Destiny's Child Stay, Jessica Simpson, Heart of Innocence. Both of those songs came out, I think, 99? No, because Destiny's Child is actually on Jessica Simpson's debut album, Woman in Me. Huh. I I don't know, but it's the late 90s, early 2000s. And I remember that's the time that as I've said so many times, countless times before, my, that's not right. Actually, it is something like that. My thought days, sexual exploration days, college boys gone wild days were 19 to 23. And I remember I actually came across those songs at that time. And the reason that it's like, so you were in college in 99, 2000? It's like, no, I fell in love with those albums in college. The albums had been out since I was in high school, but I actually came across falling in love with the albums in college. And I particularly loved Stay by Destiny's Child and Heart of Innocence by Jessica Simpson. And both of those songs, as you can tell by that one, are about holding on to something for your love, you know? And like Beyonce sings in the song with Destiny's Child, if I loved you a little bit longer, if my love was a little bit stronger, would you stay? If I granted all of your wishes, gave you more than touches and kisses, would you stay? And it's like, I can answer that. At least during my sexual exploration days, my learning how to date days, no, they will not. You know, if you, when you grant all their wishes, give them more than touches and kisses, they will not stay. And, but you know, I don't, it's so complicated because these songs made me want to hold on to something. So, yes, I had my thought days, sexual exploration days, looking for love at all the wrong bedrooms days. And even through those days, with the help of those songs, I still said, you know what? I'm not going to do everything there is to do because I want to save something. For my baby. And I was, oh. So I said I would hold on to something. I I will not grant all of your wishes and there would be dudes who I'd be over there to grant some of his wishes. And when it would come to other things, I'd be like, no, I'm not going to do that. And they'd be like, all right, I'll never see you again. That's fine. Anyway, so also, I had my prude days from 23 to 32. And I do feel that, one, those songs were beneficial because I didn't do every single thing. Uh, yeah. Because when you're young, like, people want to take advantage of you sexually. I speak very openly about the fact that one of the dudes I met for an engagement, he was a porn director, and I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. I didn't think much of it, but I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm dating, and this is what I thought. It's like, I'm dating a guy who directs porn. That's cool, I guess. It's not a problem. And I didn't realize that when I went over to his hotel room, he drugged me. He drugged me. And what I remember about that day is it was some of the wildest. I don't think I need to go very in depth with this, but I will say, now I didn't do everything sexually, but it was my wildest sexual encounter ever. Like, I did a lot of things with him. I think what he gave me was some drug to make me be sexually wild or whatever. And FYI, the way he did it. So if you're out there and somebody tries to do it to you, you'll see it coming. He was like, you know what? I really think would be so hot if you, older man or older fella, if you let me blindfold you and feed you fruit. And me being young, 20, maybe 19, I was like, I guess, I mean, whatever. I like fruit, so sure, huh? And I didn't realize it was drugged fruit. And that's what he did. And yeah, that was one of the wildest sexual experiences I ever had. Anyway, so from age 23 to 32, I was a prude, and I appreciate my prude days to the extent that STDs are a real thing. STIs and STDs are a very real thing. And I'm not going to say I've never gotten STD, because as I've said, even on this show, about the dude who, and this was post prude days, the dude who, I don't need to be quite so explicit in my explaining, but suffice it to say, he, we had anyway, I don't need to explain it that much. Ultimately, he gave me gonorrhea. And I remember when I got tested and they were like, yeah, you have gonorrhea, but we're just going to give you a shot and then you'll be all good because you got it early. Cool. And while I was sitting there waiting for the shot, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, especially having MS, like that it could have been any host of diseases. And fortunately, it was just that. And my doctor was like, yeah, so you should probably call your sexual partners. And I was like, I've only had one. And call your sexual partner and tell them, hey, they might have gonorrhea. And I remember I'll just say it wasn't a fun phone call. Um, he, I thought he would be like, oh, well, thank you for giving me a call. Let me get it checked out. No, he didn't say that. He was in denial. And he was like, you must have got it from one of them other brothers that you suck it. Anyway, oh my gosh, I said I wasn't going to say what it was. But one of them other brothers that you interacting with. And I was like, no, I've only interacted with you. So that means it's only from you. But okay. And he's like, girl. So I was like, okay. Anyway, yeah, that's one of the benefits of the prude days that I've had. It, in my, it's good that I had the prude days, so I wasn't like racking up a whole bunch of STI, STDs, you know? I will say, on the other side of that same token, same beautiful token of prude, I will say that while I do like that my not being an around the block dude allows me to present something fresh, rel- relatively fresh to my love. And I've explained this to him as well. It's relatively fresh because it's not like it's never been touched. It has been, but it's relatively fresh. And I appreciate that. I also acknowledge, you know what? That's why it's not easy for me to now at 41, I'm 41. It's not, while others might have been more sexual in their prime, I was holding on to my sex and living my best prude life. And now that I have someone who is that one, I kind of have difficulty turning on the mood. I think we're working with each other on that. I it's okay. I often I'll also think about the 50-year-old virgin woman Uber driver that I had that day. And I, as I said to her, I believe that you will find the right one that you're saving your virginity for at 50. It's complicated because you hold on to it and you get to gift your partner with this wonderful gift. it's good that you get to gift with the wonderfulness of the gift. If you so I'm going to leave it at this. STDs and STIs are a real thing. If you feel the right thing for you to do is to have your own prude days, then have your own prude days, okay? Be a prude. Don't give it up to everybody. If you feel that you want to save it for your one, save it for your one. Okay, don't let anybody convince you otherwise. It's after 1 a.m. I didn't realize that. Oh, well. But I will say keep optimistic for all things. Hashtag Burst TV family. It can be hard. I'm not even going to say that. I'm not even going to say, no pun intended. It can be, keep your optimism, okay? Keep a positive outlook in life. My love speaks to the fact that he's like, Aaron, sometimes you can be like overly optimistic. And I like that about you. And I'm like, thank you for understanding love. So be optimistic. It will all work out. Do what's right for you. Self-affirmation time. Okay. Positive self-affirmation. And of course, I do this, I speak it to myself, but you all can do positive self-affirmations for yourselves as well. And that's why I do it, as notification that, hey, it's important to do. You are worthy. Aaron, you are, no, I look this way. Aaron, you are a wonderful winner. Aaron, you are a beautiful catch. Aaron, you are intelligent and practical. Aaron, you are growing stronger and stronger. Yes, you are. No matter, people might speak negative as if it's impossible and you should just give up. Aaron, don't give up, because you are growing stronger and stronger. You're winning. I love you. Yes. You, Aaron, you are determined. Aaron, I love you. You are worthy of all the wonderful. Yes. Yes, you are. Talk to you later. Hashtag Verse TV family. Peace. Hashtag versetv.com. Stay blessed. All right.